Hey, HR friends, welcome back. So this is the 5-3 emotional 6.5 day sequence. It's the overview. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at not only the electromagnetics, but also the Plutonic Master Guide for the 5-3 emotional set. Now, let's start out by talking about the electromagnetics. This is the entire 6.5 day sequence that we're about to go through here. Now, this is set to universal time. It's going to start October 5th, 8:48 a.m., and it's going to end October 11th, 6:50 p.m. Again, universal time. Now, what we want to do here is we want to help you understand these graphs. Okay, so we're in an interactive biofeedback system. That's what space-time reality is. And this interactive biofeedback system, well, it has to try to teach us in a way where we have to learn. So what it does is it makes us defensive in design. So we're actually designed to be defensive. And then as this pattern unwinds, so as space-time, as the pattern of space-time unwinds, what it does is it creates electromagnetic polarity flips, or these moments that are going to agitate our defensive design. This is what animates and makes us have to learn. That's the best way to understand what this is. So when you look at these graphs, what it's doing is it's showing you when our defensive design is going to be activated. Now, we reference the number 4. So whether we're looking at the blue first person, the purple third person, or the magenta combined, we want every future viewer to understand when it gets to a level 4 or above. And we really want you to look at the magenta because it combines first and third person together. You see, stress is messy. First person stress, that's the stress that you have with the people you see on a day-to-day basis, your family members, your coworkers, your community members, okay? Third person stress or agitation, that's how the individual wants to see the bigger picture unfold. And obviously, we all want to see it a different way. And we stress and we worry and we argue about it. You don't want to do that either. And then we add these two things up. 4 or above, that's really going to start to agitate and manipulate choice both at the collective level and at the individual level. So we want you as an individual to be aware of that. And the more individuals that we have aware of this, the bigger the collective effect it will have. Now, what is it you should be aware of? Well, one is when this pattern elevates, it's going to be very easy to jump to conclusions, to lose your temper, and to let your defensive design kind of direct your choices or manipulate your choices. And this is what it gets you to do. It gets you to run away from your problems, which doesn't eliminate your stress, or it gets you to stand up and fight for your problems in a way that makes more stress. Now, if you run away or you fight, this is what happens. You accelerate aging and disease. How? That's the stress. It creates the stress. That stress is what accelerates the aging process. And accumulation of stress is what leads to future states of disease. So, understanding this pattern, you can see that all of us have predetermined states that are really dependent on how we react to this pattern. If you're upset and angry all the time, I promise you, you age faster and you get sick quicker. That's just how this works. So, knowing this pattern and knowing when it's going to elevate is super advantageous for everybody who wants to, one, feel better, and two, create an environment that they enjoy. Okay? Now, the 5-3 is not a super difficult sequence as far as electromagnetics go. When we change into the 5-3, you can see this right here. I'm going to call this a roller or a swell. Now, when you see an elevation in one of these graphs and it holds up for an extended period of time, it's letting you know that we're either doing an emotional or a mental polarity flip. In this case, this is an emotional polarity flip, and it's just one. If it was two, it'd be all the way to the two. It's just one. If there's a swell or a roller, this is that ocean analogy, you know that this is going to cause lots of agitation because it's like it's stepping on the gas pedal and it's not giving us a break. And then on top of it, you've got all these smaller polarity moments, the chop or the waves on top of the swell that are affecting us as well. Now, that's in day one. So the transition isn't going to be super tough. It's only a single emotional polarity flip. Now, when day one ends, there's a small reset, and then we have a mental polarity flip that's going to happen in third person. Now, this is going to go on for more than 24 hours. And when a mental polarity flip follows an emotional polarity flip, sometimes they happen at the same time. In this case, it's staggered. This one's going to stop. This one's going to start. It's going to start in the blue, and then it's going to transition into the purple. And you can see right now we've got day one, day two, and day three. We pretty much got pretty heavy duty polarity going on, even though it's only single flips. Then we're going to have day 4 where things are a little quiet, but then 5, 6, and 6.5, we're right back into emotional polarity flips. And by the end of this sequence, this is a dual emotional polarity flip. Now, the 5-3 has a lot more action going on than the 5-2 did. Okay, just be aware of that. And it's important to know that these longer ones are just literally going to stack up. So we're only going to get about a 24-hour break in the next 6.5 day period where we don't have a steady agitation hitting us. Now, the steady agitation can definitely be higher than it is, but it's still going to be there, just so you know. So the general overview for the electromagnetics for the 5-3 emotional sequence, this isn't going to be easy. It's not going to be super hard. It's going to definitely be in that moderate to challenging range. Okay. Now, when we come back to the daily forecast, we'll talk about each day individually and prepare you for that as we go. But now you got the overall sense of what this is going to be. All right. So let's look at the testing structure for this. Now, in every emotional sequence, the quadrants of our body, they're connected to our choices. And if our choices are unbalanced, there's a penalty for that. And what we have to do is we have to commit to our team. We can't let our defensive design convince us that certain members of our interconnected families in this world we're not supposed to get along with. It's not true. We're supposed to get along with every member of every family, and we should be able to communicate with them. We should be able to coordinate with them. We should be able to talk about our stress and alleviate stress. And most importantly, we have to synchronize and work together with our teammates. You have to have a routine that reflects how you're helping the individual, the family, the world, and the national level be fair and balanced for every future family. Now, if you're not doing that, if you're not getting along with certain members of the team and you're not going to leave this world a better place with the time and energy that you invest, and by leaving it a better place, it doesn't mean just for you or the people you care about. It means equally for everybody everywhere. That's what that means. If you're out of balance with these frequencies, that's what causes the aging to advance. Okay. So not only does stress affect it if we're getting upset and angry, but when we get upset and angry, what it does is it convinces us that we don't have to get along with people and that we're more important than others. None of those things are true. That's the defensive design of your body trying to trick you into suffering. Now, when we look at the 5-3, this is a little bit different. The 5-2 was up and down all over the place, especially in the left lower and the left upper quadrants. Okay. This is a little steadier. Now, 4 is the number we worry about here, too. And you can see that we pretty much stay at a 4 the entire sequence for upper left. For the right upper quadrant, we're at that 4, just below that 4. For the left lower quadrant, we're at that 4, just above that 4. So maybe this is just a little bit higher, this sequence. And the right lower quadrant is definitely at that 4 and up a little bit higher. So in the 5-3, you're going to notice the testing structure is going to put a little more stress on the 2 lower quadrants, left and right lower quadrants of the body. So if you commit to the team and you get along with everybody and you overcome your defensive design and you invest in all your strategies to make sure that every future teammate in this interconnected world is going to benefit from what you do, you got no worries and you get to graduate. Now, that's what these charts are about. This shows you the Plutonic Objective Master Key. You have to master 64 variations of relationship, and really, it's 8 relationships from the first perspective, 8 relationships from the third person perspective, and then every combination in between. And what happens is, as space-time cycles, the lesson plan cycles, but it's just a repeating cycle. It's just asking you, how are your choices going to affect all of these perspectives? And are your choices going to leave these perspectives better off in the future or worse off in the future? Now, in order to pass this space-time objective, you have to master all of these relationships. And to master these relationships, you can't just understand it. Of course, we understand we're supposed to leave this world a fair and balanced place for every future family. That sounds silly to even have to say it, but nobody's doing it. You don't believe me? Look around. Our societies aren't getting along, our nations are warring, and our climate is in absolute disarray. So we understand that we're supposed to make the future better. We just get distracted by our defensive design. So this is to help you understand what it is you have to do. And remember, this is just a mathematical construct. There is a reward If you do this and the reward is worth your effort, I promise you, we're in a negative feedback loop right now. And here, everything is very hard. And how you learn by making mistakes and suffering. If you can overcome your defensive design and suffer through all the mistakes you've made and make them right and do the best you can to leave this world a better place, you will graduate out of this negative feedback loop and you will get to go to a positive feedback loop. And when you're born into that reality, you'll learn in a way that's pleasant, enjoyable, and it's fun. Okay? That's how that works. We're trying to get you excited about this because this is going to be some hard work, but we've done all the effort we can to make sure that this is as easy as possible for you. Stay tuned for day 153. We'll be doing that forecast. We'll see you there. Talk to you then.